Whoops, not that kid. I'm going to ask you to speak into the mouthpiece very clearly. It's 10 p.m. time for some straight talk. This is your host, Matt Hazley. A lot of stuff in the news today. We got crazy stuff in the news. I want to start out with, we had a little girl here missing for Adrian Rudo. She's been gone missing for quite a while. And I was hoping something positive would come out and they would find this little girl. Well, unfortunately, they found her remains. Very sad to say. I don't understand how somebody can do that to a little kid. It just blows my mind. They're doing it anyway. I mean, I'm just a little kid. So, I feel real sad for the family. You know, just, you know, your heart goes out to them. I would never want to have to experience that with any of my kids. It's a tough thing to handle. Very, very sad. Hopefully nobody ever has to do that again. We also had a Illinois State Trooper right just across the river. Well, we call it across the river over in Illinois. I guess was killed in that car accident. And we had one in Iowa injured in an accident. Somebody rear-ended her. Happens quite a bit where I didn't realize it was so prevalent. Where troopers would be sitting on the road and somebody would run right into the back of them. But out here, it should be. Let's see here. See my mic feed going like it's supposed to. We're gonna boost the switches around. We pulled all the feeds out, and I don't know if we got them back in. So, bear with me 1 minute here for the Oxford. What's that? Try to find out what that is. Where are we at here? We got it. I thought we were missing something here. I don't know. Let me know if you can hear me. Hard to tell. My board's not like that. It runs through a mixing board, so it's kind of tough. Tough to see, but no, we have. It's actually right now going on is the Augusta Women's Invitation, Women's Amateur. And down at Augusta, Georgia, playing at the home of the Masters, which I mean, how great! That would be so awesome to go play there, let alone compete in a tournament. Right now, Catherine Smith is leading at 4 under through 11 holes. I guess inclement weather commitment, they had to suspend the round, but she's got a 3-shot lead over. I'm not sure how her last name is Trevino, but Trevino? And there's a slew. There's 5 of them, 1 under, and 4 of them even, that I see right now. But this is only the second actual Augusta National Amateur for the ladies. Jennifer Cutco won it. I think that was 2 years ago, because last year it was suspended because of COVID. So, I don't either that unless they played it later. I don't recall that, but I don't want to say it was, because it was April 3rd to the 6th, it said. So I don't know if that was last year or not. Had a lot of events that were canceled. Even the John Deere Classic was canceled last year. Hopefully it's on this year. I've had both of my coronavirus shots. I had both of the Moderna, and I thought when I had them, I felt like I got run over. I was aching everywhere. Had a headache really bad at the first one, but not bad at the second. So I'm hoping I wanted to go be able to see my dad. I wouldn't be able to get in to see him unless I had the shot. No, I mean, it'd be really neat to watch this Augusta Women's Amateur. I'll be watching that all weekend. Biggest news this weekend is, of course, Easter Sunday. So it's we will be busy Saturday at the conference, but Sunday will probably not run. Echo happening here. You know what? Maybe I think it's this. I don't know if that's takes it out. Let me know if that's better. How about now? Is that better? So we have a lot of weird things going on in the news, but we also have tomorrow, Major League Baseball opening day, and April Fool's Day. So if you people out there like playing pranks, tomorrow's your day. I never really can hold out to make the pranks on people. I just, you see a lot of people that do it. My wife used to play pranks on our kids. She did. It was so funny one year. She kept telling the kids, "Hey, when you go to get done eating, rinse off your dishes." She kept telling them every day, trying to get them in the habit of doing it. So then on April Fool's Day, she taped the sprayer. So when they turned on the water to wash off their dishes, it shot them. So I'm like, that was pretty good. So I always kind of walk around with eggshells because I'm wondering what she's going to do to me on April Fool's Day, because I know she will probably do something. One year she thought she'd be real funny, and she put marshmallows on top of the ceiling fan, and she said, it's really getting hot in here. So I turned on the fan, and they just started flying everywhere. Well, she thought it was funny, but the dog loved it. He I don't know how many marshmallows he had, but he had probably more than he should have. But you think about, I've seen some April Fool's pranks on the internet. People taking like just a wad of balloons, not filling their office full of balloons, but taking like 25 balloons and taping them to the back of the window as they go into their office. So they think when they walk up to their office is full of balloons. Pranks like that. I've seen, people, mouse pranks, actual mice. And I've seen a few people where they were like planning stuff in their keyboard. So it looked like their keyboard was growing a garden. And I'm like, that's a little too overkill. Some people switching the keys, couple keys if you type you're probably not going to notice it right away. But yeah, there's a ton of pranks out there. Some are really, really evil. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody would do things that they do. But, some of the April Fool's jokes they come across, like somebody would do is they take a pair of pants, they would like stick them on the toilet, and they stick a pair of shoes. And it looked like somebody's sitting on the toilet. So, everybody's like trying to go in there and use the bathroom, and they think somebody's on the toilet the whole time. So, I mean, that's kind of, a harmless prank, unless you really got a code brown going on, you really need to use that bathroom. And you would be like hurting pretty bad. Cutting out insects, in the shape of an insect out of paper, and they're taping it to the inside of lamps. Well, that would probably get my wife. My wife is like majorly freaked out about bugs and spiders and everything. Every spider is, gigantic, big as your fist. It's just You know, some people can't stand bugs. I'm not a big bug fan, but I mean, I don't freak out about it. But they look pretty cool when they did it with the, you know, when they did it actually and put them in the lamp, so they show up looks like a real bug. Taking I guess I don't know how many shopping carts, but making an infinite loop of shopping carts around somebody's car. Well, you know, odds are you're not going to know who it is, so you're doing it to somebody you don't know. You really want to do it to somebody that you know, because in that way you actually get to see the reaction out of them. The one I thought was awesome was taping an air horn to their seat. So when they go to sit down and get to work, you might institute a code brown out of that one. But you got to imagine as a quiet office building and you do that, it's going to bring a little bit of attention. So you might want to do is, if you thought about doing that one, you might want to find out whether somebody's going to get upset if you did that. That'd be pretty cool prank, though. I did way back. I stuck a gigantic spider on one of the ladies' chairs that I worked with, and need to say she freaked out quite a bit. But one I saw was a real easy prank. You know, most everybody have these, you know, what do they call optical mouse? So you look at it and you see the little light in the bottom. Well, they tape a piece of paper over it. So they'll be trying to use their mouse, and it'll take them a little while before they figure out that their mouse is not working, because that little optical spot right here has been taped over. So they'll be messing with it, and they'll be beating it on the table and trying to figure out what's going wrong, and they don't realize. And you put a little note on the bottom of, you know, April Fool's Day, or, you know, a little face. So, but here's one I thought was really classic evil. If you're, you know, if you're a parent, you got younger kids, they were taking, you know, we call them tongue depressors, but, you know, you make caramel apples with them, you know, stick it in the apple, where they were taking onions and dipping them in caramel. So giant, you know, regular big size onions. And, oh, you want a caramel apple? Sure. Here you go. And they take a big bite, and it's a caramel onion. I like caramelized onions, where you cook them and you like put them with fajitas or anything like that. Yeah. Or even put them with a steak, a good steak, but not an apple, not a caramel apple. I'm sorry. Or caramel onion. That really wouldn't go good. I know they have some different, people have different tastes, but, and then the one I thought was kind of funny, if you got an office wall that shows like different staff and like your president, whatever, people hung up a picture of Kim Jong-un on the wall, so it'd be in the staff pictures. For how long it's going to take somebody to actually notice that. But here was a very evil prank. If you got somebody that really likes to drink soda, what they did was they stuck Mentos in the ice cubes. So when they froze them, and they put the ice cubes in their drink, poured the soda in it, by time when it started to melt, after it melted, you got to imagine what the Mentos is going to do. They're going to have, you know, soda shooting everywhere. So I don't know how big a reaction you're going to get, but if you got about 3 or 4 of them in a full glass with some ice cubes, probably going to make a big mess. So I think you might have somebody severely pissed off at you after that one, you know, because you never know where that's going to go. We had another one I saw was they replace air freshener. They take the label that goes around like the Glade air freshener, and they put it around. It was like a bait spray. It's a shrimp scent. And I was like, oh, that would be so nasty. I don't like the smell of fish. I'm not a fish fan. I don't like eating fish. I mean, you know, some people love it. Some people, I'm never been a, you know, crab fan. I've never been you know, I've been able to stomach fish every once in a while. You know, I eat fish on Fridays in Lent, the filet fish. That's about it. But that's about the extent of my fish. I'm not a big fan of going to, Red Lobster, you know, because I'm not a big seafood fan. I probably never had really had good crab or anything like, crab legs like that, you probably should try them. But it always seemed like it was way too much work to sit there and, fight the legs just to get a little piece of meat. So I was like, yeah. But another prank I saw was taking a pet, not pet, but a fake snake and sticking it in with the cabbage or in the lettuce area. That's really going to freak somebody out. But you'd have, that's one of those ones you want to see the reaction. Maybe stick it in your fridge, But here's one. This one would take a while for somebody to get, and you don't know if they're going to get it. But you would do is you would take in like red paint, and you got like a vent in the corner of your room, and before you redo the floors or recarpet the floors, you would put get out, and you put these like red hands look like they're getting sucked into the vent, and it'd have to be when you're moving out and you're planning on recarpeting or whatever, or old carpet, because somebody has to change that because they're probably not going to notice for a while. But when they do, might have a little bit of tendency to freak somebody out. I always think of that commercial where the guy goes upstairs and all the mannequins are up there and he goes, "Oh, enjoy your home." No, nope, not gonna. So yeah, it's that's kind of a long-term prank. We did we stripped some floors at our house and restained them and polyurethane them. What a lot, man! That's a lot of work. We just did 2 rooms, and I mean, it takes a while. Another prank was take nail polish, clear nail polish, and paint it over the bar of soap. But I mean, most people, I don't know if they use bars of soap anymore. Me, I use like it's in a pump bottle. So I mean, you could probably switch it out with something else, but it would probably mess you up. They had they always have like senior pranks at the schools. The one year I was a freshman, in the senior class put a Volkswagen Bug, full Volkswagen with engine, everything, not just a shell, up on top of the auditorium. And I'm like, how do you do that? I mean, I guess they had some kind of, pulley system and worked its way up there. Crazy to think that they did that, to put a Volkswagen Bug on top of school. And they were told them if they get it down, and you got to imagine that was back in 79. So they said, if you get it down, we won't prosecute you or won't do anything to you. You won't be in trouble. And they were able to get it down. But nowadays, they probably have a crane come in. You probably get arrested, a whole thing. One school here, I know for a senior prank, they did, they got into the school early. I don't know how, or maybe over the night, and they went through and put a little dab of crazy glue in every lock throughout the, all the schoolroom. So needless to say, I think they canceled school that day because they had to pull all the doors and pull all the locks. That had to be very, very expensive prank. That one would get you in a lot of trouble. I mean, that's not quite the April Fool's prank that you want to play. I like the ones where they, remember the old Jackass where they'd stick the fist? So when you go look through the hole and they'd smack it, I mean, that was funny to see. But I mean, that's probably not an April Fool's prank you want to pull on your spouse or significant other. Because if I were to hit her with a giant boxing glove, you remember the old Lorena Bobbitt? You probably wake up with, what's that doing over there? And I'd rather not. I'd rather not lose that, that fight, because you have to go to sleep sometime. You pick on your kids, but you got to remember, someday your kids are gonna be taking care of you, so they determine what nursing home you're gonna be in. So, but no. April Fool's pranks, they can be evil, and they can be harmless. You remember, you're going to get paid back if they're evil. I mean, there's some serious pranks, and I saw a bunch of them on the internet, and some of them I would not even, bring up because I would rather not tell anybody. But another Mentos prank was, They opened a bottle of, looked like Coke, and they strung a piece of dental floss through the Mentos with a needle, and then they put it, suspended it over the, and re-put the cap back on and trimmed the sides of it. So when they open it up, that Mentos falls in, and you got a mess. So, I mean, that would be kind of a cool one. Another one was and I would hate to do this to somebody because they're never going to be able to figure it out. And usually when people are in taking a shower to get ready to go, go to work or whatever, but they took chicken bouillon and put it in the shower sprayer, and I'm like, how do you fit that in there? And my God, I would not want to have somebody get that into their hair. But yeah, there's a ton of them. They were like turning somebody's their office cubicle into a bathroom. Well, a lot of people are working from home right now, so they may not even see it. So another one was leave somebody that looked like a dead body in the bathroom. But, I mean, something that can really freak somebody out, playing tricks on people, thinking that they're going to, or how they're going to react. Harmless prank would be they're mixing, Skittles, M&Ms, and Reese's in a bowl. Well, people think they're M&Ms and Reese's, and they're end up being Skittles. Well, you go to bite into them. Yeah, so some people that really freaks out. And another one, they took fake rats. They're little stuffed animal or stuffed rats, and they filled their office full of them. Somebody that might really freak them out, but a lot of people are working from home right now. They some pretty ingenious pranks that they have, but I'm not really good at pulling the pranks. I don't like to set them up. I don't like to to wait to see how they're going to react. I just try to make sure that I don't get taken advantage of on a prank like that. And I'm sure my wife has probably got something planned for tomorrow. So hopefully I get out of the house. I have to be at the PD at 7 a.m. So hopefully I'll be out of there before I've been going to a firearms class all week, which is really cool. We've been shooting pistol all week. So doing all kinds of standing, kneeling, prone shooting. Really cool. The indoor range they have down there is humidity controlled. The way it pulls the lead out, and it's been a really neat experience to do. So I got a couple more days left of it. My fingers are feeling it, from doing all the shooting, and my knees are, and they teaching us all kinds of different techniques about, unjamming your weapon when you only have one hand, and just going through the training and different stuff like that. It's kind of different. When I originally went through the academy years ago, I went through the academy with revolvers, and then we switched over to Glocks when I was in Texas. I was a police officer in Texas, and now being up here, we SIG P320s. It's an experience. You get somebody that the instructors we have are awesome. They're great instructors, great shooting techniques. I'm enjoying the experience. I enjoy shooting. I don't like cleaning my weapon, but this is probably one of the easiest weapons to break down and clean. It's so quick and so easy. I've never had a pistol that I've able to break down this easy. So it's a lot. It's not as frustrating to clean as some of them, but like in the military, we used to have the 16 break those down, and it it took a little bit longer. But no, it's cool to shoot. I'm feeling it in my thighs and my right on top of it, because you have to smack on top of your knee to get that magazine out when you're only single. And it's been different, but cool training. We Great instructors. We trying to think of what else we got. Oh, we got Major League Baseball opening day tomorrow. You got oh crap, what is it? Let me see. 2, 4, well, yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 games tomorrow. Cubs play Pirates tomorrow. So I'm a big Cub fan. I'm hoping they play at 1:20. So by time I might get to see the very end of the game. I just know when it's like beginning of April, which is crazy because just Monday we were like 70 some degrees. Today it was like 40. And it's just like a yo-yo. Tomorrow it's supposed to be like 42 or something like that, and then 70s again on the weekend. So it's just crazy. The weather is going like a yo-yo. I mean, we could get snow. I mean, I put the shovel away, so that might jinx us. They talked about a chance of flurries today and maybe a little bit of spitting rain, but we got a hard freeze tonight, hard freeze tomorrow night, and then one of the days next week it's like 55 for a low. I'm like, this is crazy. You don't like the weather? Wait 12 hours, or whatever. I tell Kevin Phelps, hey, it's your fault you're making it rain. And he always goes, you can't blame me on that. I said, you tell me that weather people, that's what they want. They want, they don't want anybody to get hurt, but they want huge snowstorms. They want tornado warnings. They want, they want they want to be able to get on there and talk about how the severe weather, because that's what they, excites them. And, and I enjoy watching storms too, but, yeah, they're really crazy. They were talking about, that we had already had tornado warnings in Des Moines, and they had some tornadoes actually down in Alabama. It's been a few years back, but we had a tornado touchdown on on the golf course. But my son and his wife, they had a tornado, or not tornado, but a hurricane derecho, inland hurricane that did so much damage to their house. They're displaced from it since last August. I would mention the insurance company, but I've never seen an insurance company mess around with somebody and hold them off and just keep. I mean, they've been waiting since August to try to get their insurance taken care of, and they just keep giving them the runaround. They got a foundation wall that's going to cave in, and they just bought the house in May, and it's got more damage in it, and they're trying to say, oh, the house settled. The house is 110 years old. So I'm hoping they get it taken care of quick. Frustrating for them. I feel for them. They're going to be coming to live with us here pretty quick. My son got hired at one of the local PD here. And so while he goes through the academy, I think they're going to be living down in this area with us. We already got two of their dogs. So why not? My grandson, my daughter-in-law, and my son. My son will be going through the academy here coming up in May. So what's going to be really cool is I'll be able to go in uniform for the sheriff's department here. And when he gets pinned on his badge in August, I'll be able to be in uniform with him. And it'll be kind of cool to see us both in uniform together. I'm a big back to blue. I'm a former military. I don't believe that every police officer around here is going around trying to kill people. I have never worked with anybody that in my law enforcement career that I know that's going out to kill people. I've had a few people when I was in the service who I didn't think should be handling weapons, but I never felt that way. And I'm hoping that somebody that goes into law enforcement, they're not getting in for that reason. What's up, Larry? Larry 80. So it's got to be Larry that I was in the service with, correct? Over in Korea. I just see a hey, Matt. So shout back out. Let me know where if that's true. What I liked about being in the service at that time. Yeah. Oh, for Fort Bliss. Oh, wow. Awesome. That is, now you're really going back. I remember we used to have at Fort Bliss, we had what they call a CQ, where they would, they sit up in the hallway. And so they, I remember his name was Hopper. And he was CQ, and he borrowed the TV from my roommate. And they had a cable line that was up in the ceiling. They used to hook it up to it, and he had the TV, and I would lean out and I'd change the channel with the remote. We didn't know there was a remote to the TV, and he's like, "What is wrong with this TV?" So he'd work it around and get back to it, and I'd lean out and turn it again. And he's like, "What the heck is this TV? It's got a mind of its own." And then I start turning it off. He'd go turn it back on, turn it off, turn it back on. He was getting so frustrated with the TV. He goes, "What is going on with this TV?" I go, "Hey, Hop, you want to borrow the remote?" He kicked me in the shin. He was so mad at me. And it was just hilarious. I mean, that was kind of about the, your April Fool's prank I'd like to play on somebody there. But yeah, that was hilarious. Back then, now every TV's got a remote. I mean, if you don't have a remote, you can't, half of them, you can't even find out how to change them. So I'm kind of irritated with our local TV company here, because 3.5 or almost 4 months, our local channel 8 is not on the broadcast because I don't know, they're in disagreement with how much money that it should be. And I'm like, we pay for the, the whole package. We don't pay for part of the package. It's not our fault. You guys need to get your negotiation done. We have another newer company that came in here. They are 100% fiber. And if they don't do something soon, I mean, it's not the channel, it's the, part of it. But their internet's supposed to be, our internet goes on and off like crazy all the time. Hopefully not during the show here, but no, you got MLB opening day tomorrow. You got the Women's Augusta National Invitational or Amateur April Fool's Day tomorrow. But I wanted to do is, people have been getting vaccines and stuff like that. Some people have, some people haven't. Some people are like, Ryan Reynolds says, hey, he got his, his COVID shot or whatever, and he goes, oh, now I got 5G, because there's a conspiracy theory. You see it up here. I haven't quite got into conspiracy theories yet, or lately. I used to do it all the time, but a lot of people think that, oh, there's a chip in the vaccine and it's supposed to, whatever, mind control. I don't know about that. But yeah, it's comical to think that, that would happen, but nowadays you never know what could happen. But New York is talking about doing vaccine passports. And I'm like, man, I don't, it doesn't make sense to me that you have to have proof that you're vaccinated to do anything, but you don't have to have proof that you're who you say you are to vote. You don't have to show any ID in some of the states. Iowa, you have to show an ID. And they tell, I listen to people, they sit there and they say, oh, it's racist to expect, black people or, underprivileged people to have to show an ID. Why would it be any I think it's racist to think that they can't obtain an ID. So, I mean, I would much rather subsidize IDs for somebody who can't than to have somebody vote that's not actually them. That's how you secure the voting. Go back through the voting rolls. My mother has been dead for over 2 years. Is she still on the voting roll? She shouldn't be. Nobody should be able to use her name and vote for her. Absentee. But apparently, that's the best recruiting voting tool in Chicago. They've always talked that, more dead people vote in places in Chicago, but I don't know. I just would. How do you secure the voting system? I'm not saying that Joe Biden didn't win, but I have a hard time fathoming in my head that he got 11 million more votes than Barack Obama. I can understand Barack Obama it was hope and change and everything, and it was just big deal. I just found it hard to believe that he got that many more votes. Do I think that who won? Hell, I don't know. I mean, there's some conspiracy theories out there that people believe that the election was hacked. Until they come out with proof with it, who knows? There's a lot of people. There's a lot, like 74 million people in this country that, I wouldn't say 74 million, but there's quite a few in this country that believe that the election was stolen. But right now you're not going to get an investigation into it to find out if it is. If you do, it's going to be the slowest rolling investigation you'll ever see. We went through almost 4 years of collusion investigation, and I guarantee you, if there was something, if they could have done anything to convict Donald Trump they would have. I mean, they impeached him twice. Yeah, but he was found not guilty, and they go, oh, well, that was because it was the Senate. Well, that was because there was the House impeaching him. So yeah, I mean, it was both. I think they need to do is start just dropping their parties and work together. If you got something good for the American people, do it. But right now, what do they want to run? Another $2.2 trillion or something like that spending bill? And I'm like, and then I heard there's possibly a fourth, stimulus check. And I'm like, I don't know where do they get the money from? I mean, if what do you monopoly money? Where's it coming from? And then they're talking about how one of the Ford, I think it is going to build one of their new vehicles in Mexico. And they think, okay, well, we'll help Mexico build up Mexico so people, instead of wanting to come into the United States, they'll want to, settle there. And I'm like, that makes no sense at all. That doesn't help the American worker. So I don't know. I saw a report that one of the auto workers was really unions was really upset that they backed Joe Biden. Well, I mean, there's people that believe that Donald Trump walks on water, and there's people who believe that Joe Biden walks on water. They won't jump. They won't go one party or another. It's it doesn't matter. There was a saying, I think I talked about last week. They were talking about, it was a Russian propaganda thing where they were talking about is you can send people propaganda and you feed them so much propaganda for so long that when you finally start telling the truth, they won't believe the truth. So, I mean, that's sad that we've got that way. You look at people that will look at the internet and they see some meme in Facebook and they get all bent out of shape thinking it's the real, it's real. Oh my God, what are they talking about? And it might be totally bogus, but that person has got it in their head. This is real. They don't fact check things on their own. And you got to fact check it from multiple organizations, because I've seen them where the Facebook fact checkers will say something is BS just because they're biased. That's the problem we've got. Baltimore is ending prosecutions for low-level crimes. So, no misdemeanor thefts, drug possession. I don't know. Also, New York got rid of qualified immunity for police officers, so you could be sued for just about anything. A lot of the officers are going and leaving New York for that. They're talking about doing the same thing in Illinois. You got a lot of Illinois police officers that are, jumping shift and leaving now, getting out of there because they're talking about they're going to vote on. I don't know how it would be worded, but it's like an amendment to discuss, and then within a certain amount of time they present the findings, and then they, like 2025, they would lose their qualified immunity. I don't know if that's the right way to go or not. I would think, to me personally, I think it's the wrong way to go. But a lot of people, like out in California, they took all this funding away from the police budget, and now they're refunding it because the crime is going through the roof. And what did they think was going to happen? Back years ago, when you used to have community policing officers were on the beat, they're walking the block, instead of now they're all in cars, so you don't see them, face-to-face contact like you used to. You don't get to know the police officers. That's why I think officers in schools, some of the places have taken the resource officers out of schools, is so important because it deals with the kid. It gets a rapport with the police before where probably some of the best gang tips were from the school resource officers because they knew the kids would come tell them stuff. I've got tips from one of my friends. We went to the academy together, and he would give me tips. They tell me about fights going on, tell me about hits going on. Larry said, today, Columbus, Ohio appointed a new civilian review board that has the power to discipline police officers for their actions. I understand having a review board, civilian review board. I understand it, but also a lot of the civilian review board needs to understand that a lot of the decisions that officers make are made at a split second, and they don't have the time to think over. It's like, boom, it happens right now. So you got to do is, what would you do in that situation? If that was when, as the old saying is, what's hitting the fan. We had what they call a Milo system. They did took one of the reporters here, and they did a hood system. They put it on them. They had a person in a suit with with a helmet protection. Well, they lifted the hood off them. They turn around, and there's somebody coming at them going, hey. The reporter, he had a fake weapon, drew it, shot the person, and it was all in panic because you have a split second to make the decision. What's your decision going to be? Right, wrong? Did they have a weapon? A lot of people think, oh, he has a knife, you can tase him. Well, I'm sorry, no. They have a rule, 21 feet for somebody with a knife for you to be able to draw your weapon and shoot 2 rounds to try to incapacitate somebody. And even though you shot them, that doesn't mean it stops them. So, a lot of people don't realize that. They think, 21 feet. Oh, that's a long ways. You should be able to do that. No, not necessarily. Somebody doesn't stand still. It's like, I teach martial arts. And I said, you cannot stand there and expect somebody to do all these moves on somebody. You got to remember that they're going to be moving to do something to you too. Nobody just stands there and lets you do a move to them. So it's an eye opener for some people. They don't expect it. They don't expect somebody to resist. Well, they do. The George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, I think it is. He's on trial up in Minnesota right now for, I guess I don't know what degree murder they have on him right now. They're calling it, but I haven't, I've just seen what they had in the media. I don't think that there is going to be anybody that is on that jury that has not heard about that trial. And that's the hard part about it, is if he's guilty, he's guilty. But if he was innocent of anything, he is already right now they're calling for the conviction of him. And they're like, if they don't get a conviction, they've already ready to, burn down pretty much the city. And that's the bad part about it, is it's a mob rule. I don't know if he's, guilty or innocent, and that's not my say. But do I think, my personal opinion is if you're arresting somebody and you take them down and you hold them, and once they become unresponsive, that's when you go to treatment. You go to render aid. Most people officers carry Narcan now. Narcan, I don't know if that would have brought him back. I guess he was on fentanyl or whatever. But I mean, I've seen it, people Narcan before, and it will bring people out of, an overdose. And once you notice somebody that was fighting or, that putting up a fight, and all of a sudden they become unresponsive, that you have to go to the treatment phase, finding out what's wrong. I don't think that was done from what I saw. We were holding an individual down that was fighting, that was stabbed. He was stabbed 3 times. All of a sudden he went cardiac arrest in the emergency room. And I watched probably some of the most amazing nurses in the emergency room and doctor save this kid. He was 19. He was stabbed in the side right over here. He was stabbed down just above his groin area and somewhere else. I'm not sure exactly where the third stab wound was, but the one on his side, he was losing so much blood that they had a bandage on it. And every time the nurse, when he went in cardiac arrest, every time she pushed on it, blood was pouring out of him. And I mean, I'm just standing back against the wall, because they told us to back up against the wall because we couldn't go out because it was too crowded. And we just stood there, and she was doing CPR, and she never stopped, and she was covered in blood. And I'm just standing back going, whoa. I was probably 24 or 5 at the time, maybe. And it was after I got out of the service, and the doctor come in, cut him open, cracked his chest, and reached in and was doing open heart massage on him. And he said, okay, now you can go out. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. I've seen some pretty bad stuff, and that was one that was interesting. And he was a heart surgeon, and that's probably why this kid lived. I don't know if the kid's alive today or not. I mean, he was a 19-year-old kid at that time, and he actually got out of the hospital. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks later. But yeah, doctor saved his life. I mean, it was just an average doctor, might not have been able to do it, but he, being a heart surgeon like he was able to go in and take care of him. So, I mean, crazy things happen. We talk about, I had a class, and we were talking about, it was mental health crisis in law enforcement, and whether, people dealing with PTSD coming back from either Afghanistan or Iraq or whatever, and experiencing the stress from, whatever happened in war or Vietnam or anything like that. And things that I've seen in law enforcement. I've seen a lot of things in law enforcement, and Larry can attest to this. You see things that you don't want to see. And back then you didn't tell anybody. You just kind of swallowed it up. And that's really messes people up. That's why a lot of law enforcement officers have drinking problems. Their high divorce rate, because they go from, running even keeled to going 100 miles an hour. And I don't mean physically speed, but their adrenaline is running 100 miles an hour because you're either at going to a hot call where either, car stolen, bank robbery, could be anything, and then you're expected to be right back down, back down to even keel again. And your stress goes like this, boom, 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 up and down. And it's so, every day is different. You never know when anything's going to happen like that. You could be driving down the road and all of a sudden you're taking rounds. And it happens. We had an officer here driving down the road and he took a round luckily he was left-handed because the round hit his weapon and saved it from going in his side. And when he went forward like this and leaned forward, the rounds were hitting the headrest. So he's lucky to be alive. It's I miss seeing live PD because live PD was one of those things where you could watch and you got to see what actual, the interaction between law enforcement and people were. The only bad thing about it is they didn't show them writing reports. So talking about some dumb criminal stories, I call them, you have, let's see here. I had a bunch of them that there was, before I get into that, I wanted to talk about, they called him Mayor Pete or whatever. Pete, I don't know how you, Buttigieg, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but he ran for president and didn't make the primary, but he's in the Biden administration. He's a transportation secretary. He floated a vehicle mileage tax. And everybody goes, oh, I don't drive that much. That'd be great. Oh, no, think about that. Just about everything is coming by truck. You got all these semis going back and forth. What are they going to do? They're going to add that price onto everything that's being delivered. Your UPS charges, your mail charges are going to, everything's going to go up because if you're paying taxes on all this stuff, they're going to have to offset the costs. They're going to have, if they're paying tax on every mileage they drive, it's going to offset the cost. That would be a nightmare. You think about it. So you're going to have to do is calculate how many miles you drive and pay taxes on that. I don't want to get to that. I hope we don't get to that. That will be a mess. You want that little thing in your car too? Oh, wait a minute. We're going to do is you were speeding here. That's what I don't like having that thing in there for the insurance companies. Insurance company goes, well, you safe driver. If you drive like, a little old lady going to church just on Sunday, then you're okay. But if you brake too hard or speed up too fast, we're going to raise your insurance because of that. Well, I would not want to have them tracking me. They already track you already. You got to what? If you got a cell phone, you're being tracked. And you go, oh, no, they're not. Yeah, I'm sorry. They know where you're at. You ever think it's a coincidence when you talking about something and you go, I'd like to order pizza. And then all of a sudden your next ad when you go on the internet is pizza. I swear the thing's listening to you all the time. And I used to have it on this one. It's not on this slide right here, but it was Big Brother is listening. Oh, you tell me they're not. And I talk about Big Brother being this, not, I think the government does too, but you look at, like Facebook, all of them. It's like Google. I don't want to get one of those Alexa because I don't want that thing listening to me all the time, but you already have one because you got what? If you say what? Hey, Siri, watch it, see if it works. Oh, she's sleeping right now. So if you go, hey Siri. Oh, she's being quiet now. She must be, but it's listening to you when you talk into it. So I don't want to have to sit there and have to talk to everything. It's not like the Jetsons, or what it is, or what was the one with Sylvester Stallone where he was frozen and they brought him back and you're talking everything and you didn't have toilet paper, you had shells or whatever. I'm sorry, nope. So think about that. I can't remember the name of the movie. Not iRobot. It had to do with robots, but well, maybe. I can't remember what movie it was, but yeah, he was had the one guy, Wesley Snipes in it, and he was a bad guy, and he was trained at all these tactics and everything as a inmate, and Sylvester Stallone, who was supposed to be a police officer, was trained how to knit and crochet and do all this stuff. So rehabbing him, but they brought him back to catch the Wesley Snipes guy or whatever. But yeah, that's an old movie. So yeah, he getting back to Mayor Pete. I kind of went off in a tangent there, but Mayor Pete floated the mileage tax. Demolition Man, there you go. Yep. Some of the older movies like that were great movies. I still like the old Terminator, the original one. I mean, I remember seeing that when I was in Korea, and a roommate of mine rented it, and I was like, I was half asleep when I started watching this thing, one eye open, watching this. Next thing I know, I'm like sitting at the edge of the bed going, this thing ever going to die? And it was just crazy. Yeah. But in going back to Mayor Pete, that's one of the last things I saw in El Paso. Yeah. But one of the last things that you want is a mileage tax. I don't want to be sitting there because every trip you go, anywhere you go, you're going to be paying them, mileage on everything you go. We pay enough taxes. The stimulus. Why not do is you're sitting there. Where does the money? Yeah, people don't think about how the taxes affect them. They think that, it won't affect me. I don't drive that much. It will affect you. Pretty soon it's going to be not the $1 menu at McDonald's. It's their $2 menu. It's going to be the $6 menu or whatever at McDonald's. People don't realize the press secretary. I don't even know how to pronounce her name. Psaki or whatever. I don't know. It looks like, Psaki. I don't know. She said that raising taxes doesn't mean they're going to raise prices. Well, duh, you realize they have to do is make their profit. That's how they are able to employ people, how they're able to keep their business going. I'm sorry, but they're not selling loss leaders. That's how you keep your business going. That's called economics. If they don't, they go out of business. It's like all these, you look at how many restaurants and stores that have closed. For good, completely closed because of the pandemic. I had a problem with, teachers complaining about going back to school, teaching during a pandemic when they weren't one bit concerned about grocery store and people at Walmart and people at all these other places working and supplying them with groceries. But they were worried about going back to school. My sister teaches. They never missed it. They kept on going. They got out early last year, but they went back full-time school this year. They weren't that, virtual online school. So you look at a lot of the teachers were complaining about it. Oh, well, I'm sorry. If you don't like it, where am I? And then I got people complaining about people going out and doing stuff without a mask now. My opinion is, and I've seen a few people where they voice their opinion on Facebook. If you don't like it, stay at home. It's like if you don't like a channel on TV, change the channel. Don't watch it. You don't have to. If you don't like a radio station, don't listen to it. You are all able to do that yourself. And I hate it when people sit there and they say, I want them off the air because they don't have the same agreement I do. Hey, not everybody has the same agreement. My dad thought the music that I listened to was crap. He told me when he was a kid that he listened to big bands. And I mean, I can listen to big bands just because I grew up listening to it because my dad listened to it and my mom. And he told me that his mom told him that their music was like what we consider rock. And my kids listen, some of them, I don't know if they listen to rap, and I can't stand rap. I'm not all of it. I mean, there's some of it I like, but I mean, until recently, probably last year or two, I never liked country, and there's some country songs I like, and some I can't stand. But I mean, a little bit of every music I can listen to. But my dad told me, he says, yeah, he goes, my mom or my grandmother, his mother, thought his music was, she didn't like it. She didn't like the all the trumpets and the drums and it was too much for her. And, that's that different era. Like my parents, my mom would do it occasionally, but she had what they call dystonia. I don't know if people know what dystonia is. It's like it's a voice box problem, and I didn't know it's hereditary, but her voice sounded like she had a hard time talking. Sounded like she was talking with gravel in her throat. She could never yell, and I was nice as a kid, but my dad could yell perfectly, so we never got by with that. So I always think she just go, wait till your dad gets home, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. And hopefully she forgot to tell him by the time he got home. But thinking about, if you don't want to listen to anything like that, rather than trying to cancel them out, turn them off. There's so many stations on, and like when I was a kid, 4, 6, 8, 12. That's what I had as TV channels. Then we got cable. Cable was 2 through 26, and they weren't even all the channels were full. You got so many channels now. If I don't like watching them, I just do is click with the remote, take the remote, and change it. That's what you got. It's that easy. You don't have to sit there and try to tell somebody you need to get that off the air because I don't agree with it. If you don't like CNN, you don't like MSNBC, you don't like Fox News, you don't like, whatever news station, change the channel. Find something you like. If you don't like any of the new broadcast news stations, go on the internet. You're going to find somebody that you can, check out. You can find out what they're broadcasting about. Research everything for yourself. Make sure that you do your due diligence, as they say, and I mean, educate yourself. Understand what's going on in this world. They have right now up for, what is it? It's going to be, I guess, a ballot amendment vote on for the permitless carry in Iowa. I guess that'll go up for during the next election or whatever. I have mixed emotions about that, whether everybody should be carrying, but we have concealed carry here in Iowa, and with as many concealed carriers there are here in Iowa or in other states, how many times do you hear about concealed carriers going out and violating the law? It doesn't matter what law you enact. The criminal is not going to follow the law. It's like the person that speeds, the person that runs stop sign, the person that runs red lights. It doesn't matter if you put 3 red lights up there, they're not going to stop. Doesn't matter what speed limit you put up there. Oh, well, they won't stop driving 55, so we'll make it 35. What are they going to do? They're still going to drive 55. They don't care. A lot of people that will, it says no gun-free zone, they're going to bring guns in. They don't care. And that's the sad part about it is some people think that laws don't pertain to them. And most of them are in government, you know. So, yeah, we passed the House and the Senate of constitutional carrier. And, well, I see what you wrote. Larry wrote in there. Ohio is looking to move to constitutional carry. They say people will still get their concealed carry so they can carry in other states. We have, I don't know, what is it, 29 states? I can't remember. I'd have to look it up to be exact, that reciprocate with Iowa. But Illinois does not, and they're right across the river from us. But Iowa recognizes Illinois, but Illinois doesn't recognize Iowa. Wisconsin recognizes Iowa. So if you ever go up, we used to go to a game, I would go up northern part of Iowa and then go over into Wisconsin that way. Minnesota doesn't recognize Iowa. I don't think they do. And if they did, they probably don't now. But yeah, you see a lot of states that, you know, and usually they're the ones that are having the most problems. Illinois, Chicago, about as gun control, anti-gun city as you could be, and more people get shot in Chicago every year, murdered by guns in Chicago, and it's not by the gun, it's the person with the gun. If they didn't have a gun, they would have another tool that they were going to use to do is take that person out. That's evil is evil. It's just the tool that they're using. They go, oh, well, that's because of lax gun laws in other states. I'm sorry. No. I don't believe that. You still got to get a background check to buy a gun. So, I mean, they've had people go in and try to buy guns, reporters that, although the person that was in the, I don't know which one it was. I think it was the Colorado shooting. I think it was the Colorado shooting. If they would have shared the databases from the military felony to the, civilian data, the NICS, they would have caught him. He would not have been able to get a gun. But they weren't able to share for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what the purpose of that was. I don't feel a person that has a felony should be able to purchase, obtain. They're not even supposed to be in control or even in the same location as a firearm or even ammunition. It's that restrictive. And some people do. But yeah, constitutional carry. A lot of people have different opinions on it, but a lot of people have also the people that have some of the most restrictive opinions on banning. They call them assault weapons, which they're not. The AR-15 know the least about the AR-15. It just happens to be the tool that person used. So they sit there, and I saw one that says, so if, a drunk driver kills 4 people, you're going to take away the license from everybody else? No. Or if they ran over somebody because they were pissed off, you're going to take that license away from everybody else because, evil is going to be evil. Doesn't matter what their tool is. More people die by hammers. We had here in Iowa, we had 2 inmates try to escape. They killed 1 guard and a nurse with a hammer. Trying to escape. This happened just last week. So you think, they were in the medical area. The 2 inmates, I don't know how they got a hold of the hammer, but they killed the officer and killed one of the nurses trying to make their escape. Evil is evil. People think that it oh no, everybody we see everybody. Not everybody's that way. Oh, it'll be okay. I'm sorry. You got people that are really evil in this world that will do just about anything to you. And not bat an eye. I'm trying. We have some other crazy stories that we had. This is some dumb crook stories before we get out of here. But we had tell me, if you're going to carry a gun as a felon, where is the last place that you think you want to carry that gun in? If you don't want to be detected that you have a gun. Well, apparently this convicted felon decided that it would be a great idea to carry his pistol, a loaded pistol, into a donut shop populated by officers. I mean, why would you think that would make any sense? To take he dropped his weapon right in a donut shop. And everybody goes, cops and donuts. Why? Well, one, just about everybody loves donuts, but what is open at 2-3 o'clock in the morning that, for an officer to go write reports? Well, most of them are all wrote on a computer now. Back when you had to handwrite them, that's where we go. We stop at the donut shop. But another one is, this guy is going to be the brightest guy ever. This happened in Baltimore County. Police say 2 men robbed an area bar or pub while officers were holding a retirement party for one of the sergeant's retirement party. So they broke in, demanded cash while everybody in the bar was carrying. Not a good idea to try to rob a place when you have, probably 50 officers in there that could point guns at you. There was one of the movies where they did that, where they went in to rob a place, and I think it was an old Chuck Norris movie or something like that. And everybody drew down on the people, but this is my favorite one. This is probably about as dumb as you can get. This is, my kids want to go to try one of these, escape rooms. And I say, we'll never get out. I just see, we'll be stuck in that thing forever. Well, apparently some burglar broke into an escape room, not knowing it was an escape room, and had to call 911 because he couldn't get out. So, I mean, you think about that. He went into thinking, oh, this is cool. I broke in. He wasn't able to figure out a way to get himself out of the room. So, not a bright individual. We had, I got, let me see if I can end with one more. What we got here. Oh, I did was, I was going to talk about gun laws in every state. Maybe I'm going to hold that one on. We're already way over time. I usually only do about an hour, but, Fox did a special, and they were talking about it wasn't about the politics or anything, but it was ex UFO program chief, and apparently he was talking about the vehicle characteristics of these vehicles that they were following, and they were talking about how that they were reaching speeds and whatnot that no vehicle that we have that has that ability. So we're going to try to get into that, and we're going to talk a little bit about, UFO stories down the road here. See if we can get some people on that know a little bit more about the subject than I do. I mean, I've always been very intrigued with it. I've had some of the greatest UFO people on. We had Alejandro Rojas from Open Minds. We had Bill Burns. We also had Dr. Stanton Friedman, who passed away 2 years ago. But yeah, I'm talking about. It's hard to believe that we're the only one there. You know, it's just too big. This solar system is just too big. So I would like to see, think of them kind of like what is it, Paul? It's probing time, but speaking of Area 51, I'm going to do is play. This is the commercial, or not commercial. I'm sorry. This is, if you call Area 51 Coffee Company, this is what you hear. So check this out. Tell me what you think of this.
You have reached Area 51 Coffee Company. All of the alien creatures here have been abducted. If you are looking to order coffee, go to www.area51coffeeco.com or dial 0 and leave a message. Oh no, they really are real.
So if you dial 844 UFO team, you'll get Area 51 Coffee Company. Area 51, as you can see back here, we got a DEFCON 1 and we got an extraterrestrial being. The DEFCON 1 is a dark roast, but it's higher caffeine. It's called DEFCON 1 High Alert Caffeine Invasion. And we have extraterrestrial bean, which is a medium roast. Both great coffee. They're both organic, and they are right here, veteran-owned company. So check them out. www.area51coffeeco.com. Yeah, check them out. Get some coffee. Maybe you can get one of their cool-looking mugs. They have sweatshirts. They have T-shirts. Some Alien Invasion Response Team T-shirts. They have shaker mugs. I got one around. Oh, yep, here it is. Hold on, I got it right here on the counter. See that? Nice little. These are metal. The shaker bottles are made by the Gronkowski family. So you think about football. Yeah, Larry worked in prisons for over 32 years. Yeah, you ain't kidding. You heard some dumb criminal story. People, I mean, in 32 years of working in prisons, that some of the weapons that they make in prisons is amazing. I seen some nunchucks made from newspaper, toothpaste, and cloth that just was, I mean, they were almost hard as rock. I've seen shanks made out of things. And this is probably a gross story, but I'm going to say it anyway. In Texas, they had a mental patient popped his eye out and swallowed it. What would make you want to do that? Apparently, he did not feel pain like most people feel pain. Some people have a pain tolerance that's non-existent. Wow. Found a zip gun with 22 rounds. Wow. That would be crazy to find in a, I'm wondering how much, being a prison with an open yard, that drones, I wonder how many times drones are attempted to fly them in. They got to be no-fly areas for them, but somebody has got to, they will try to do anything to defeat. They made a marijuana dispensary over in Illinois. This is, a year or so ago. And I thought, you mean to tell me people are, they're going to be clipping those, the fence and get in there to get some of that weed. But, I mean, it was a place, I guess, I don't know if it's where they grow it or not, but yeah, they, you can go right over in Illinois and buy it legally. They're opening it up in in New York right now. That you can, it's legal for consumption. Whether I really don't care if it's legal or not. It's not going to affect me because I'm not going to smoke it. It's like alcohol's legal. I don't even drink. I just don't find the time for it. But not saying I don't like it or dislike it or like it. But I don't find the time for it. Too many things going on. Oh, I can believe that. Yeah, it says, yeah. Larry says they fly them over the fence and drop drugs, phones, and weapons from them. That, you think that I've seen one where they show a drone where the pistol is mounted to it. So I would not want to have to deal with that. But it's going to be more and more. We talked about pilots that were. I had a young lady work for me. She got married a Marine fighter pilot, and they were talking about he might not get a jet but he ended up getting a jet. But he might have to, go and learn how to fly the drones, and they might be in like I don't know where they have them, but like in Utah or something like that, flying out of a building, and they're flying the drones, and they fly the drones for 8 hours. They go fly whatever it is, land it, and they have more combat experience flying that drone. I said, give a kid a 6-pack of Red Bull that's 14 years old. He'll teach you how to fly that drone. They have actually fighter pilots, kids that would go in, and they didn't teach them how to fly the F-35 when it was first coming out, and they were building this thing. They took them in. They didn't even teach them how to on the simulator. Within 15 minutes, these kids were doing it, shooting down other planes, doing all kinds of everything, on the simulator. And they were flying this thing, doing things that they didn't think they could do with it. Young kids, because they weren't afraid to fail. And they were telling them, oh, you need to move this over here, this, because they're the next pilot they were talking about. These kids are amazing what they can do. They're the ones who you play them in a video game and they taunt you. Yeah. And they go over and I won't say what they do to you, but they taunt you. So yeah, my son's one of those kids. Well, I don't know about if he taunts them, but he's always playing video games with his buddies. So but no, you have a lot of dumb criminals out there. And what one of my lieutenants, he says, yep, we don't arrest the smart ones, because the smart ones aren't getting caught. I always thought it was stupid if you got a bunch of drugs in your car and you got weapons in your car, you shouldn't be out driving anywhere if you're a criminal, because you're going to do something stupid and get pulled over. And they're probably going to run. We had, was it? I think it was just a chase earlier tonight I was listening to. I heard him bring in the wrap or whatever. So some places call it the burrito, where they wrap them up and they wrap them up in this wrap so they can't kick or punch or bite people. You got spit hoods. A lot of people think that, that's insensitive. Well, until you get spit on, you can still breathe through them. They're like a real light mesh, but they keep them from spitting on you. It's a lifesaver. I wouldn't want anybody spitting on me. I've had it done before. I got spit right in the face one time by a guy. But yeah, it's and it's frustrating to deal with. A lot of people if they had to deal with that, I don't, these people that are anti-law enforcement, they would probably think differently if somebody spit right in their face. So yeah, it's crazy to think that, how some people think, I would hope that, I just hope that they don't try to take guns from people. 'Cause you're going to see a lot of violence from it. People trying to do it. So we'll get into more of dumb state laws that are still in effect next week. Remember, April Fool's Day tomorrow, so don't get pranked, or at least be careful that you don't get pranked. And Major League Baseball opens tomorrow. Easter Sunday, should be the number one, actually. Easter Sunday. The Lord is risen, so think about it that way. No, go Reds. No, Cubs, Larry, not Reds. So, yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on in sports wise. You got your NCAA. In the women's NCAA, there was a fight the other night. Well, it wasn't a fist fight, but they were knocking each other down. I was surprised. I was at the gym working out, and I looked up and I had the headphones in. I look up and these women are just bowling people over, knocking each other down. And I mean, yeah, yep, everybody gets into it. Yeah, it can be some, tensions get high when you're playing a sport. So, I did want to mention before we left. Think about this. And I saw this over in Europe, in like London and stuff like that, where if people mention something on Facebook, where the police would come visit you. Well, in New York, police are being dispatched to people's home for hurtful conduct. And I'm like, which is not even illegal. But you think about that. They'll send you to your house to talk to you about what you're talking about on the internet. So I'm like, hurtful conduct. That doesn't make, I would hope that doesn't get to that. It would be, most people wouldn't even answer the door, but I mean, what are they going to do? You didn't do anything wrong. How do you tell somebody they did something wrong? Oh, because you said something wrong on the internet? Well, that's crazy talk. So, all right. Well, we're almost an hour and a half. We went 30 minutes over. I used to do 2 hours, 3 days a week. Now I'm down to trying to only do 1 hour, but it seems like we get into it. And, yeah, I can believe anything coming from New York City. And that's the sad part about it. When I was in one of my classes just recently, and they told me, don't go to New York right now. As a law enforcement officer, don't go to New York. And I'm like going, I don't have any plans on it. I've been to New York before, but yeah, the officers have no backing up there. That's scary. And people know that. Here, it's a little bit different. Most of the people, I would think, respect law enforcement. There's few people we had a riot earlier this year. And I mean, it was crazy that night. Well, there were some people that I saw had mentioned things about F the police and all that. And I'm like, really? And they think that, we need to get rid of all the police. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but it will turn into the old West days. Or, if we go to 100% socialism is where the only people that have guns are the government. And if you get out of line, they take you and take you out. You can't, and they go, oh, well, it'll never happen like that here. Tell that to Venezuela. I mean, Venezuela, they took all their guns away. People are starving to death. The government not even give them anything. You look at, there's been in history of people having their guns taken away from them. It's a deterrent. And it's not just a deterrent for, our government to try to stop, take them away, but it's a deterrent for, what is it? Japan said, we'd never attack the mainland United States because there would be a gun behind every blade of grass. They thought everybody in the United States carried guns, so they were worried about that. It's a deterrent for people that were come try to do us harm. So yeah, yes, yep. I was in Daegu, they call it. I've been all over South Korea, but yeah, you're 6 minutes from North Korea by jet to Seoul. That's what they say. At any time within 6 minutes, you could be bombed. So, North Korea, when it was the older man, it was, we didn't have as much problem, but there was little firefights every day up there on the DMZ, or every so often. We'd hear about them when we were in Korea, but you wouldn't hear about them in the States. We had I forget how many North Koreans were killed, and we had one American shot in the neck when I was over there, and one of the Russian guy defected across the DMZ. But yeah, it's at least we had a rapport with North Korea, whether you liked it or not. Donald Trump actually had a rapport with Kim Jong-un. And this, you might think, oh, well, he's a nut. Well, this nut has nukes. So, you might think, okay, well, we shouldn't have a rapport with him. But if he launches one to South Korea, launches one to Japan, a lot of innocent people are going to die. That, I always thought they should have made Dennis Rodman the ambassador in North Korea, because if he was friends with him, hey, if it keeps him from nuking everybody, fine. I mean, you look at, I think before too long, Iran's going to have one. And when they do, you tell me that they haven't been working on that program. Oh, we're going to shut that down. Yeah, we're going to shut that down over here. I mean, we're going to shut it down. They just work on it somewhere else. They're not going to just give up that program. That's their power to be a world power for them. And that's what they want. They want that nuke or multiple nukes so they can sit there and be able to bully their way around. Yeah. Or nuke Israel or whatever. That's what they want to do. It's kind of like, what is that? The Hatfields and the McCoys, they don't care. They think that these people are evil. Those people think these people are evil. And they've been fighting for thousands of years, and it's not going to stop. So sad to think that. I would hate to think that we had, a constant war between another state all the time. That would be very depressing to live that way. Think about people living in, a combat area. We watch these shows, Naked and Afraid or whatever. I don't watch them, but they have those shows, and they send somebody out to an area to live naked where people already live, and I make them, it should be city people naked and afraid. Somebody that not used to living out in the wild, maybe call it millennial and afraid, and put them out in the wild. I remember we went to the field in Korea. We went to the field in basic and AIT and, in the military. I hated the field. I don't like going to the field anymore. My idea of camping is called Holiday Inn. That's me. Roughing it, maybe Red Roof, something like that. But I'm just not a big camper. I mean, the military cured me of that, of ever wanting to camp. We would go to, and Larry would know about this. And if you're out at McGregor Range and you were stationed out in the desert, which is 30 miles out in the desert, and we'd block these roads for 12 hours for missile fires. And they'd leave you out there in the middle of 110-degree heat. They'd drop you off with a helicopter and, here, have some water, take this with you. And I remember one time my sergeant pulled up. It was 100 and some degrees out in the middle of the desert, and I'm out there roasting weenies. I ran out of water, and I'm cooking little hot dogs in a Sterno can. And he was like, "You need water," you know. But yeah, watch jackrabbits and coyotes, and we had this one horse that was wild that would go over and it learned how to turn on the water. We had this non-potable water tank that they would fill up these, I don't know what these trucks for. I don't know what they were for, but they fill them up with water, and they would, the horse could turn it on itself. And you couldn't catch it. It would run wild. I mean, the minute you get close to it, it'd just take off. But yeah, it was smart enough to turn on the water. You see scorpions and what was it? Tarantulas. I remember we caught like, I don't know how many, it was like 24 tarantulas one night. And hell, I'm from Iowa. We didn't have tarantulas, so I didn't even think about it. We're throwing them all in a box together. We didn't realize that they don't like to be together, and the males don't like being with females because they're bigger. The females are bigger than the males, and we were just throwing them all in a box. We had like 24 of them in there, and some of them were killing each other, and then we dumped them out all right by the MP station. And man, people were freaking out because they were going all over the place, climbing up the walls. You see, oh yeah. We had, who was it? I talked about this story last week, I think it was, about Sergeant Farmer, who had the Volkswagen Bug, and he thought the UFOs were following him in the access road because they were the Cobra gunships were flying right over top of his Volkswagen. He couldn't hear them because his Volkswagen was so loud. But yeah, you see jet pilots that go flying by, and they'd go at telephone pole top high and just scare the living crap out of you, because all of a sudden they just go boom, and you know, they go by fast. It was cool to see them, but yeah, once they go by, they'd scare the crap out of you. But yeah, as I said last week, don't ever ask for a ride in anything. You know, it's especially that if it goes up in the air, don't ask for a ride, because they will mess with you bad. We had the high-speed tank trails. I remember turning a corner in a Jeep one time, and all I saw was a silhouette of a tank from the outline of the sun, and we were like, which way is he going? Because all we could see in the distance was a silhouette. And we stopped, and we were getting ready to drive off the road, and we're looking at him, and you couldn't see any dust. So okay, all right, he stopped. So we drove up there, and the guy was like down inside the engine compartment trying to fix it. And I was like going, they're gigantic. I don't mess with the tanks, because they used to see that little MP on the sleeve. They would run you over in a heartbeat. They didn't care. They didn't care. Oops, sorry, we didn't mean that. I mean, they have no windows, like side mirrors or anything like that. They go where they want. They're big. They get that ability. You know, you think about, I got to see the MLRS, which is the multiple launch rocket system. I saw that when they first tested it. That was so cool. We saw these different missile systems, the Nike Herc, the Hawk, the Pershing 2, actually, I saw, which is the Pershing 2 is the ICBM, where you shoot from one continent to another. That's what our nukes are hooked onto. Oh yeah. We had one with Larry. I don't know if you were out there when they had the 30-ton low boy run into another one, and they had to get something to pick the tank off of there. But those are the old M60s at that time. But you know, the Abrams, I mean, I tried to stay off that tank trail because you never knew when they're going to come flying down it, and I always would fear that they would come flying down it. But yeah, they pretty much go where they want. They had one that was an old tank. We tried to get it running. We were trying to put batteries in it to get it started. We want to do anything to drive that thing. So yeah, that would have been. My idea was, oh, you heard about the tank, but it wasn't out there. Yeah, they must have moved it. It was on the access road when you came into McGregor Range. It was on would be the west side access road. Oh, we climbed all through that thing. We spun the turnaround in it, messing with it. But yeah, we tried to do. You got left out there to work, and I remember I stuck a truck about 15 miles out in the desert looking for ghost towns. Yeah, that was a little embarrassing, but all good folklore. And what I like about it is, well, we did have cameras there. Wilmus did take a picture of himself, but they didn't make it to the internet. So you look at now, almost every photo you take, you get them online. They're there. If you post anything online, there's cameras everywhere. You can't get away with the stuff like we could years ago. And that's probably the good thing, because you can't blame me for stuff that there's no evidence of. So, yeah, it's, everybody talks about the service, and I know, Larry, you remember, well, you probably don't. I went through basic training in AIT with Sergeant Lewis, Luis, and I'm trying to get a hold of him. He was a drill sergeant candidate, and he never made his full drill sergeant because he broke his wrist while we were in training, and then towards the end of it, he wiped out and broke his leg on a motorcycle. He wiped out, and I want to meet him again, and I want to thank him for everything he did for me, because when I saw him one other time at that, I was one of these young dumb kids, thought I knew everything, and when I ran into him another time, I ran into him actually in Korea, and I'd like to do is I want to thank him for everything he did for me, but I can't get in touch with him. You can't find him. But the lost gold story, yes, I heard about that, about the burro, the donkeys with the old man, the old Mexican man with the donkeys, and supposedly the gold was up in the hills, up by White Sands and stuff like that. Yeah, but that, I don't know if that, I've always heard that folklore. I don't never know if it's true or not. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that. We used to go out there and we used to, hunt for stuff, and telling the story. We drove out. We always wanted to go out and look for these, they're the impact areas, but nobody's shooting off weapons and later in the evenings. So right after we took the flag down at 5:00. We went out and we're driving out in the desert, and we get about 15 miles out in the desert, and we get out to go look at this little ghost town thing that's, building that's built. And I get out and all I hear is, shh. What the heck is that? And I go over the tire and I go, shh. I go, oh crap, we got a leak in the tire. We're losing air, and you can just hear it rushing out of there. Well, we look in the back and we got a Dodge truck and a Chevy Spare. They don't match up. Believe they didn't. So needless to say, we turned around and we were hauling ass back, trying to get back. We might have been actually farther than 50. We're about probably closer to 20 miles out. Well, one of the roads curved and come right back like this, and I didn't make the corner and launched off and high centered it out in the middle of this ditch. So I walked in about 3 hours, 15 miles back, and got back about 9:00. And we went out with a Jeep and a truck, and couldn't get it out. They had to have a 5-ton wrecker pull it out. No damage to anything, just the flat tire. And it cost me a case of pop that we had to give the wrecker driver. That was it. So luckily, and Sergeant Worley, who was the sergeant, didn't write me up. He just took my base driver's license away, and he took it away for like 30 days. And it was funny because he was so mad at me when he took away. You had to have one for each base you went to. he took away my Fort McClellan driver's license, but he was so mad I didn't want to say anything. So I still had my Fort Bliss driver's license, and I'm sitting there, and about a week or two later, he goes, they had a crossing up on the highway where they had to cross the tank crossings or whatever, convoy crossings. And he goes, get up there and cross that. I said, Sergeant, I don't have my license. And he goes, crap. And he, nobody else could do it. So he runs back to his desk, pulls out my license, looks at it and sees it says Fort McClellan. He goes, you've had your license the whole time, haven't you? And I said, yes, Sergeant. And he goes, you're not going to do this again, are you? And I said, no, Sergeant. And he goes, here. And he handed me it and he goes, go. And that was the end of it. So he was a pretty good guy. Yeah. Some wild people, you run into some great people in the service, like Larry. My God, that's a blast there, Think about, have you heard from Brownie? I looked on the 9/11 to see if his name was on there, because I heard he got into, as a police officer in New York. He was from Queens. He used to get so mad at me because every time he'd tell me to F off, I would give him crap about the way he said it, because he had a big old New York accent. Yeah. Tom Brown. Yeah, he was a beauty. We had the cat, and he couldn't stand the cat because he was allergic to the cat. And he'd wake up every morning and that cat be wrapped around his neck. Because I don't know what it is. Cats gravitate to the people who don't like them. And he could not stand that cat. I just remember in this story, Tom was traffic. He was a traffic officer or a MP, and his sergeant, and I can't remember the sergeant's name. I knew it back then, but his sergeant calls our apartment. Back then, you don't have cell phones, so he called apartment, and I'd worked third shift the night before, and it's like, I don't know, I'd been to sleep maybe a half hour, and he wakes me up, and I go out there and I go, Tom, you got to wake up. He goes, I'm not getting up. I go, Tom, you got to get up. It's Sergeant so-and-so on the phone. He goes, I'm not getting up. I go back. Sarge, he's not getting up. Hang up. 50. Was it Pinion? 15 minutes later, he calls again. And he said, Hazley, go wake up Tom or Brown. And I'm like, all right. So I go over there. Hey, Tom, Sarge on the phone. I'm not getting up. I go back there. He says he's not getting up. He goes, wake him up. So I go back there, and he goes, I'm not getting up. So I go back there. He says he's not getting up. So he hangs up the phone. Phone rings again. 15 minutes later, I answer it. What the F you want? And I said the word. I just don't want to say it on the air here, but he goes, Hazley, this is Lieutenant John Cox. And I said, yes. Is Brown there? And I said, hold on. Well, by that time, he'd already got up. He'd have got out of the shower, and he answered the phone. And Brown answers the phone. He goes, and the lieutenant goes, what's wrong with Hazley? And he goes, Sergeant been waking him up every half hour. He's so pissed off. And he was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I was, that was way back. I mean, we had, I remember Captain Cabrero. He was a tough one to deal with. I used to always go in, and he'd get so mad because I'd go in and I said, hey, Cap, you got time for a joke? And he'd go, get out of my office, So, but yeah, it was, I had a great time in the service. I really enjoyed it. Met great guys like Larry. Larry was, on call. Yeah, I got called to prisoner or assigned to prisoner transfer, and they remodeled the courthouse, so I didn't have to do anything for almost 2 months, and I just carried a beeper, and all I did was went and hit golf balls every day. I mean, that was it. I didn't even have to work. So, I mean, talk about having it made. The only thing that sucked was when, like, on a Friday night, when you did get called in, you'd be there all weekend. So, but no, prisoner transfer, that was, I mean, we didn't even have to transfer them. All we had to do was house them. Yeah, hung out the pool. That's right. And I did talk to, I think about, I know her name, Donna Marie Jordan. I think about her. She was our neighbor. I had a crush on her like you would not believe when I was that age. And she ended up, she called me when I was living here. Can't remember the other two roommates' name, but one of them got killed in a car accident. Yeah, it was just shocking to hear that. But yeah. Well, it's about I'm almost 2 hours, so I got to get up early. I got to get up at like 5:30 in the morning because I got to go shoot again tomorrow morning. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope you guys had a fun. We'll do it again. Do it again next Wednesday night. Bring up some other stories. Hopefully we talk about some dumb state laws, some other things. I'm going to try to do this every Wednesday night as we can. Next week, we're going to have a Masters preview because Masters is next week. And hopefully we say Cubs win, Cubs win, Cubs win. Oh, I got the blue flag right over here, Larry. So you want me hanging up now so you can see it? So, yeah. But, yeah, it's, we'll be getting into conspiracy theories, UFO stories. We got all kinds of different things. Hopefully we'll have a good time while we do it. Remember, area51coffeeco.com. Check them out. I got 2 roasts. You can get them now. Get it mailed right to you. So, and I got sweatshirts, t-shirts. They're going to be getting hats in. I got a lot of people asking, hey, they're getting hats? Yes, they're getting hats. Coffee mugs. The coffee mugs with the green screen don't show up real well because they're green. So that's why they all look kind of fuzzy over there. But, yeah. It's check them out. Area 51 coffeeco.com. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you next week. See you when we see you. Be safe. Remember, if you see it, you see something happening, call it in. Be safe. Call it in, let them handle it. Don't run out there to be superhero. Have a great night, great weekend. Happy Easter, everybody. Hunt those Easter eggs. Good night, Larry. Well, good night, George. We'll see you guys. If you guys get a chance, anybody else that tunes in, chime in with us. We'd love to hear. I'd like to hear what you got to say. Anybody's opinion. We'll see you next week.